Hello, we have all assembled here to announce the launch of VMware RabbitMQ as a service beta. Really excited about it. Today I have with me Ed Byford, who is the product lead for RabbitMQ as a service beta and VMware RabbitMQ as a whole as well. My name is Arnab Chakraborty. I'm the product marketing manager for VMware Data Solutions, Gemfire and RabbitMQ particularly. We all know about RabbitMQ, its popularity as a message and streaming broker across the world. The fact that it's pretty simple to use, it's very developer friendly. The fact that anywhere across the globe, anyone can use it, irrespective of what the sizes of deployments are on their side. With that, RabbitMQ as a service brings in a completely new dimension today. I would like to know from you, Ed, how do you see RabbitMQ today? How is it positioned? How has it evolved over time before we get into the details of RabbitMQ as a service as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everyone. So I see RabbitMQ as a remarkably successful open source project. And from its time at launch about 16 years ago, RabbitMQ was really one of the first brokers to implement the open messaging standard AMQP. And from then it's really grown in leaps and bounds, and it's continued that openness throughout the past 16 years. The team's done a remarkable job of keeping RabbitMQ up to date and keeping it competitive with other offerings, doing things like adding RabbitMQ streams to offer log streaming and event streaming capabilities to RabbitMQ. And it's still loved today, used by millions in order to keep messaging architectures running, do event streaming, keep event-driven architectures going. And that has really revolved around, I think, the flexibility of RabbitMQ. So the fact that it's interoperable with many protocols, has many different client libraries, and supports lots of different programming languages, as well as the fact that it's easy to get started with, is easy to monitor and keep up and running, and it's rock solid reliable. We know customers that have kept deployments of RabbitMQ running without interruption for years. So really where we are at today is VMware's been creating commercial offerings on top of RabbitMQ for some time. So we started with the Cloud Foundry offering, which was based on a managed broker that helped administer RabbitMQ deployments within Cloud Foundry. And then we've moved on to creating plugins for RabbitMQ, which allow you to do things like compress network traffic, as well as set up multi-region support and disaster recovery topologies. We've also had professional services organization here within VMware that directly help us as the product team work with customers and help develop things based on customer needs and projects. So we've had a lot of experience creating commercial offerings on top of RabbitMQ, working with customers that use the open source. And so that's why we've reached this point today where we're ready to continue the evolution of helping customers use RabbitMQ by launching this managed offering.
Awesome. So I understand why and how RabbitMQ as a service has slowly come into being. Can you explain some of its key features when we are launching this beta version and what's going to be beyond this?
Yeah, absolutely. So in the beta version, we essentially have a set of t-shirt sizes that you can easily choose from. So we'll essentially be giving customers the ability to log in, create an offering, which has a set of t-shirt sizes that you can choose from, and then allow the team behind RabbitMQ and the RabbitMQ experts to keep those deployments up and running. There'll also be a web interface to allow you to do that, and that's a control plane that then stretches across all your RabbitMQ deployments and allows you to see at a glance what's happening on each of those RabbitMQs. There's role-based access control, so you can share administration of those deployments with colleagues in your team or in application developer teams. And then, of course, there'll be that fleet dashboard and monitoring that allows you to look across all of those deployments. There'll also in the future be additional capabilities that we can launch post-beta that allow you to set up disaster recovery topologies and indeed bring new features from VMware RabbitMQ to the new offering, the managed offering.
Okay. Now, suppose if I'm an existing customer, can I go ahead and use it?
Yes, you can. We'd encourage that. what will happen in the initial stages is it'll be a private beta by invitation. So there'll be a registration link that we can share as part of this announcement. If you can speak to your account representative or your sales rep, then they'll be able to help guide you through that process if you need any assistance.
Okay. And when do you plan to launch it as a public beta? And how can I access that?
So we are launching in private beta, as I mentioned. In the future, at some point in the beta process, we will open it up to the public, and then we'd encourage you all to come on and have a look. And then at some point we'll have a GA later in the year.
If I'm using RabbitMQ right now, and I start using RabbitMQ as a service, how different is the experience going to be?
Well, we descope all the headache of deploying and managing and maintaining that RabbitMQ deployment, which is one of the main differences. The second difference is that it's based on VMware RabbitMQ, and this is one of the commercial offerings. Now, in terms of the developer API for VMware RabbitMQ, that will remain the same. So your applications, your client libraries, the only thing they'll need to change is where you connect to the deployment of RabbitMQ and where you configure that connection. But beyond that, everything will remain the same. The reason why we're using VMware RabbitMQ in this instance is it brings significant changes and improvements to the security of RabbitMQ. So TLS variants that are non-production safe are disabled by default. There's network compression, so it can reduce your network utilization when using public cloud deployments and areas. And there's also in the future going to bring things like warm standby replication, which allows you to do multi-region disaster recovery. There'll also be an audit log that allows you to see who's logged on to your RabbitMQ deployments and done what operations in terms of creating queues and exchanges and users, etc.
Okay. One of the questions which would be common is, would streams be available in the first iteration itself?
Yes, streams will be available at launch, yeah.
Awesome. Now, I have my last question, which is around t-shirt sizes. You did mention that there are different t-shirt sizes for deployment. Now, what's the thought process behind it?
So one of the questions we get asked a lot is, what size deployment will I need for a particular use case? And RabbitMQ can be deployed in many different ways and in many different forms with many different configurations. So what we've done is taken all of that knowledge that we have of working with customers to size those deployments and created a range of t-shirt sizes. So that allows customers an easy way to select a particular deployment. It will give you the estimated max concurrent connections that you can have and also the estimated throughput for each one of those. So it really gives you an easy way to tell, will this deployment suit the needs of my use case? In the future, you'll be able to migrate between different deployment sizes with ease.
All right. So those were the questions which I had. Do you have anything else to say, Ed, to the audience that is listening to us right now around RabbitMQ as a service?
Just to say that we're really proud to be a part of the RabbitMQ community and continue to support the open source project. Really excited to launch something new, and we'd love your feedback.
Awesome. Thank you so much for answering all the questions, and I'm really hopeful that people are going to enjoy this. Thank you.
Thanks, Arnab.